Hey there, Jaden. Hope you're having a great day today. Here's your video lesson. So your two things I want to talk about. I'll talk about those two things, and if you have questions at the end or we look at anything, feel free to shoot a message on over and I'll do my best to answer. Let's get to it. So first thing I want to talk about, I saw your mom sent over a message saying that you want me to talk about soloing techniques, so I'll talk about today. So the first is vibrato. I think it's a topic that doesn't get talked about enough, and it's about high time for us to talk about it, is that it's very easy when playing to kind of go overboard with vibrato or just doing something, say, along the lines of, right, too much vibrato. A little dab will do you with something like this right here. And the best way to practice vibrato is actually with a metronome. So if I get my trusty metronome out here, what you want is you want your vibrato to match the tempo of what you're playing against. So to practice this, what I'll do is I'll just get a beat going here. This is, 80 is the quarter note, 8 beats per minute. I have mine set here to the subdivision of a 16th note. So 1, 2, 1 E and a 2 E. And the reason why I have that subdivision on there, because it allows me to hear the subdivision easier, but it allows me to make sure that my vibrato is very even within the span of one note. If I take this subdivision away and just have a quarter note, there's actually a fair bit of space in there for me to not be even. So I went a perfectly divided or subdivided beat with the 16th note. That'll make sure that my vibrato is very accurate. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna play one note. I'm gonna play this, I'll play this A right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and. So what I'm doing there is I'm doing a eighth note. So the quarter note's this, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the eighth note is this. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And I want to get my eighth note, and I have another reason I have a subdivision even smaller than that. You can see my vibrato even more even. So when I hit that note there, 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and I'm not going wide. It's not a string bend. You're not trying to do this. It's not that. It's very, very shallow vibrato. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and just a little bit will go a long way. So if we do 1 and 2 and, right? Because where you don't want to do something like this, right? Super fast vibrato. Right, not like that, because it'll make the note seem like it's out of tune. Just a very small vibrato. 1 and 2 and I'll take that concept and then I'll go to the backing track over here. Quist. And I'll practice that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 by tempo. 2, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Close, by about 100 or so, 100 give or take. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and just one note. Very shallow vibrato. I'm not going like this right here. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then try to put it into a lick. Not this. Too much, right? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I used to drive my neighbors crazy when I was in school. They're like, Doug, you played the same note for 3 hours. I'm like, yep, that's what you have to do sometimes. You practice your tone, practice your intonation, all that stuff. So put that back on. A Dorian. And that brings me to point 2. Right, what I did there was you have to kind of strike a balance with arpeggios and scales. You don't want it to be all of one thing or all of the other. If it's all arpeggio, it kind of gets monotonous after a while. If it's all scale work, you're not really landing, unless you're really targeting the notes of the chord, it's just going to sound like you're running up and down scales. So to strike a balance between those two things, I might give myself the assignment or the criteria. I'll do an arpeggio, and then when I get to the top of arpeggio, I'll come down the scale. So if I do something like this, I have a D major chord, right? We have our arpeggio there. Wait, on the backing track, I don't want to do just this. Right, that gets boring after a while. What you want to do is I might do just like the top 3 strings of the arpeggio, or the top 3 notes. Target that A right there, the A Dorian. So I run up the arpeggio into scale. In the little vibrato. Too fast on that last one. So I got this. Breath in between. The vibrato is very nice. Arpeggio, scale, vibrato, There I had this little, I did a very brief arpeggio pattern there, so I do up the D major chord, came down the A minor chord. But I don't want to do that for too long, otherwise, like I said, then it becomes just repetitive after that point. Right, so I want to mix that up. Let's see here. Arpeggio, scale, target on the landing target, the root note, and then vibrato and tempo with the song. So work on that this week, breaking up your arpeggios with scale passages, and then using vibrato in the tempo of the backing track, and not too wide, keep it very shallow, where it's just a little, it's the dressing on top, it's not the main event. The vibrato is not the star of the show necessarily, it is to complement what you're playing against. Cool, man. So work on that for me, and if you have any questions, let me know. If not, I'll see you next week.